Damn, dude. DC is wild. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel. Obviously, if you're watching this video, then you probably already have heard the big news that Henry Cavill will no longer be returning as the Man of Steel. And off the jump, I'm just going to be honest with you, that makes me really sad. We only got one Man of Steel film, and you know, that was like 12 years ago, and we never got anything since. So as you can imagine, people are pretty upset. Some people are throwing anger at James Gunn, and some people are throwing anger at Warner Brothers. I put my aggression more on Warner Brothers because they wasted a beautiful opportunity that they could have, you know, really capitalized on. I think if they're trying to make money, they could have made a Henry Cavill film. For the fans, I think another Henry Cavill film would have been awesome. But James Gunn came out and basically ripped the Band-Aid off yesterday, as well as Henry Cavill, basically stating that, yep, this isn't happening. We're not doing another film. I'm not going to be Superman anymore. And that just kind of is what it is. And it's not Henry Cavill's fault. I actually feel bad for Henry Cavill. I think, you know, he kind of found himself in a really kind of crappy situation. He was excited about this role. I think he's, you know, someone that was really invested in being Superman for the long term, and Warner Brothers just kind of shit the bed with it. They didn't utilize him in the way that they could have for the fans or for the story, and they just kind of let it sit there. And it continues to this day to just be kind of one of the weirdest decisions that I've ever seen a company make with something as popular as Superman, just to kind of waste it like that. So James Gunn came in. He sent out some tweets. Henry Cavill jumped on some, you know, on social media and broke the news to everybody yesterday, and the internet just absolutely exploded. I don't want to waste you guys' time and talk about, you know, all of those details. I think we will read an article that Variety did that I think was really interesting, and really just talk about what does that mean for the future of DC. Obviously, as you know, if you've been watching, you know, everybody's been making videos about it. Superman is going to be coming back, but he's going to be coming back in a kind of James Gunn wants to do kind of an early days of Superman. So it'll be Superman, you know, at kind of his beginning phases, you know, whereas the Man of Steel was really, Superman had been Superman for what felt like quite a while. And so I guess that will be kind of interesting. But yeah, I just, you know, guys, it continues to just shock me. Now, I'm not surprised at all that James Gunn is rewriting the ship. In fact, if you see my last TikTok or one of the ones I did a week or so ago, I had basically come out and said when they broke the news that WonderWoman 3 wasn't happening, and then they weren't going to continue with Jason Momoa as Aquaman, but he might be coming back as Lobo. I said it back then. I said, I feel like Superman's next. I feel like Superman's next because they already got rid of two of their big, you know, Justice League crew, right? You think they're gonna keep Superman? I was hoping. But I knew deep down that that was probably not going to happen. And here we are. And it's not, like I said, it's not Henry Cavill's fault. I just think, you know, with James Gunn coming in, Peter Safran coming in, and having to basically redo this entire thing. And like, hey, we're going to do this, but we're going to do it right. And it's not going to make sense for us to keep certain pieces and elements, you know, because that could potentially confuse people. We want people to know off jump that this is a brand new thing. This is a brand new start. We're starting fresh, starting from scratch. And unfortunately, that might include having to recast, you know, get new actors for Superman and Wonder Woman if they do include these characters. But I think it hurts now, but I think in the long run, it's going to be for the best. Now, I want to go ahead and read this statement from Henry Cavill because I just want to share it with you guys. I think, like, you can kind of sense the sadness in the situation and kind of the context of his writing. But he said, I have just had a meeting with James Gunn and Peter Safran, and it's sad news, everyone. I will, after all, not be returning as Superman. Now, off the jump, this had me heated. It had me heated because how many times have we heard this on again, off again thing with Henry Cavill returning as Superman? The Warner Brothers really just continued to kind of just pull the heartstrings, you know? There was one moment where we found out he wasn't going to be Superman. It's rumors that came around that said he was, and it just kind of became a mess. After being told by the studio to announce my return back in October prior to their hire, this news isn't the easiest, but that's life. The changing of the guard is something that happens. I respect that. James and Peter have a universe to build. I wish them all and all involved with the new universe the best of luck and the happiest of fortunes. And I mean, he's speaking facts though. This is just kind of the nature of the business. This is what happens when, you know, we've seen it We've seen it at CW. CW, you know, went through some transitions this past year, and pretty much whoever is running the ship now decided that they don't want to do any more Arrowverse stuff. You know, so all these shows one by one just started to get canceled. And it's kind of the same thing we're seeing here. New management comes in, they're expected to rewrite the ship and steer things in the right direction. And unfortunately, that means, hey, we might have to make some cuts. We might have to, you know, our new vision of what we want to do and how we want to tell this story in a way that actually makes sense, unfortunately does not include Henry Cavill being Superman. We want to do a younger Superman, and so we're going to go with somebody else. That's just kind of how it goes. He continues on to say that for those who have been by my side through the years, we can mourn for a bit, but then we must remember Superman is still around. Everything he stands for still exists, and the examples he sets for us are still there. My turn to wear the cape has passed, but what Superman stands for never will. It's been a fun ride with you all, onwards and upwards. The thing that makes me so sad, you know, and really sad for Henry Cavill, is the fact that he just announced that he was leaving The Witcher, right? And I don't, you know, many people assume that he was leaving The Witcher because of Superman. But I feel like he was kind of leaving because the writing wasn't good. The writers didn't seem invested, and it just kind of, if you saw the last season, it was shite. And so, yeah, I feel like that's the reason that he left. But now he no longer has his Superman job. So it's not like, I'm sure he's not like desperate for money. I'm sure Henry Cavill can get a job doing other things, and we might even see him in the MCU, which is a whole different discussion for a different day. But moving on to the Variety article that kind of states a little bit more as to what potentially could be happening in the future. It starts by saying, James Gunn writing new Superman film, Henry Cavill will not return, but I to play different DC characters. So Henry Cavill may not be Superman anymore, but I'm sure that James Gunn has figured out a way and is kind of trying to orchestrate a way in which there's another main character that Henry Cavill could play. Again, I still feel like that's going to be kind of confusing, at least in the beginning, because I'll be like, oh, Henry Cavill, that's Superman. No, not anymore. But it is what it is, right? So the article says, things are heating up in Metropolis as DC Studios co-head James Gunn has announced he is writing a new feature film about Superman. In step with the new project, Gunn has also revealed that Henry Cavill will not return as the hero. Peter and I, in quotes, Peter and I have a DC slate ready to go, which we couldn't be more over the moon about. We'll be able to share more exciting information about our first projects at the beginning of the new year, the director turned label chief tweeted Wednesday evening. Among those on the slate is Superman. In the initial stages, our story will be focusing on an earlier part of Superman's life, so the character will not be played by Henry Cavill. But we just had a meeting with Henry and we're big fans, and we talked about a number of exciting possibilities to work together in the future. So sources close to DC told Variety that Gunn, his co-president Peter Safran, and Cavill met recently and are all energized to find something in the comic book universe for Cavill to tackle. Cavill confirmed that he would not be reprising his role as Superman in a statement shared on Instagram, which we just read. And then it kind of finishes off by saying the Superman news comes after a week of headlines following Warner Brothers' decision to not move forward with the new Wonder Woman movie with director Patty Jenkins. On Tuesday, Jenkins tweeted a lengthy statement saying she was open to considering anything asked of me in regards to a potential third project, which was scrapped. Shortly after, Gunn responded with support, saying to Jenkins on Twitter, I can attest that all of Peter and my interactions with you were only pleasant and professional. As Gunn stated Monday, more details on the reimagined DC universe are expected to come in January. So January is expected to be a big year for at least news surrounding DC, as it will be kind of the turn, or at least the start of the turn for the DCEU. And I think that's really cool, because people are clamoring for news ever since James Gunn has and Peter Safran have kind of taken over DC Studios. People have been wondering, okay, what does the slate look like? When are we going to get a press conference or anything kind of like what we've seen with, you know, what Marvel and Kevin Feige do all the time? And so I'm sure we're going to get to see like a whole phase one for DC, and then who's the main villain, who they're going to be tackling, and how these stories are going to kind of connect. And I'm excited for that. Obviously right now this is a sore spot. People are really upset about this, and rightfully so. But this is just kind of how it goes. Now I feel really bad for Henry Cavill, but I'm excited to see what he does in a future project. I'm sure they're going to find something good for him, but I feel like that, man, I feel like I can't imagine that won't continue to sting, at least for a while, knowing that like he's not Superman anymore. But given the story that they're probably trying to tell, it probably includes a younger Superman and someone, you know, kind of in the early stages. And I'm excited to see who they pick for that role. But that's all for me, guys. I just wanted to read that article with you guys and kind of just give my thoughts and impressions for anybody that was interested about this whole Henry Cavill situation. And like I said before, I hate to say I told you so. I hate to say I told you so, but it is kind of frustrating, I think, for a lot of fans, given the fact that Warner Brothers told Henry Cavill, hey, you know, let everybody know, you know, you're going to be coming back. And I at the time, I had a wild theory that the only reason that they were telling him to do that was because they wanted to continue to build hype surrounding Black Adam. But I think that was obviously before, you know, the news of who was going to be taking over in the future. So all that stuff that The Rock was saying about, you know, hierarchy of power in DC universe is about to change. I mean, he wasn't entirely wrong. It's definitely changing, but I don't think it's changing in the way that he was expecting. You know, I think, you know, he was potentially trying to run the ship. He had plans for what, you know, he was going to be doing with this. And James Gunn and Peter Safran were like, nah, we got this. We're gonna run the show. We're gonna run the show. We got this. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if we get news soon that, you know, Black Adam won't be getting a sequel. I would not be surprised about that, because Black Adam, I don't think necessarily did as well as they were anticipating it would do. But that's all for now. That's a different topic for a different day. As for now, I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you so much. If you did enjoy the content and you want more videos like this, kind of discussions about the latest happenings in pop culture, you are already in the right place. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're new here, all that good YouTube stuff. And yeah, we got videos coming out each and every week, so stay tuned. As for now, my name is That Guy Rye. I appreciate you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one.